everybody. Good morning and welcome to Hypno Soul Talk with Jen Snow. That's me. Today, we had a total, I'm a little bit late, so I do apologize, but there's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about where and what that looks like, and I'm going to share some stuff with you. But I want to talk about the show next Wednesday. So, next Wednesday, we are doing another live hypnotherapy session, soul regression session with myself and my friend and colleague Jen Dodds. She is going to be guiding us on this journey. And I'm going to be going to a past life that was a result of the last one that we did live here on the Journey with Jen Snow. And again, when we're doing this is, to show you the process, but also invite you to be a part of my healing journey. And utilizing the tools and techniques that I've created and utilized from learning from Jen's school, but also adapted in how I have been able to create some positive changes in my health and continue to create changes in my health when needed, and for mentally, physically, emotionally, and my wellness. Let's call it wellness, my wellness and well-being. And what that looks like, so that the Oompa Loompa in the room of what hypno sessions, soul regression sessions, past life sessions, current life incarnation sessions can look like. So, because I know this is a topic, and a lot of people, there's a lot of media, there's a lot of information out there that says, you're going to get on a stage, hump a chair, cluck like chickens. And I got to admit, when I actually walked into my hypnotherapy course, I had a lot of divine timing that got me there. I was blind. I was fighting with neuropathy. I was in kidney failure. I was struggling to live, honestly and truthfully. And I'm not really sure I wanted to live, to be honest. It had been a battle just to tread water. And I realized this was happening today. Hey, Purple Princess. So, when I went to school or discovered this school, I had this profound moment in my home. I was meditating. So I did a lot of that at that time when I was sick. And it's pretty much what kind of kept me, funny enough, in this world, was the ability to spend time in the ether. Because my physical body wasn't able to sustain life that well. And the reason there's a lot of emotion right now is because one part of my physical body has decided that it's either really excited about this session coming up, or I'm going to have to revamp some things. So you guys actually really get to go on the journey with me this time. So I spent a lot of time in meditation, just trying to keep a foot in both because of the pain of neuropathy. And if anybody has experienced neuropathy, it's quite intense. It's quite consuming. And for me, it wasn't my hands and my feet. It was basically my shoulders down, which I've talked about. And so when I would meditate, when I would go deep enough in, there would be this relief of discomfort. And so I spent a lot of time there. And when I was there, I got this message in my head about hypnosis. And I ignored it at the time because I didn't really know what it was. And I was like, meh. And so my power went out in my house. As soon as I came out of meditation, I ignored it. Oh, I see you too. Thanks, Purple Princess. And 6 hours later, needless to say, I was in a basement suite. They had power upstairs. The breaker was fine downstairs. And I finally looked up hypnosis, and I ended up getting the school and Coastal, and I sent the email, do you accept blind people? And the owner of the school, Leslie at the time, showed up to my house like the next week, and we talked, and we ended up having the best conversation about soul energy and everything like that. And at the end of it, I was like, am I in? Like, do you think I can do this? And she's like, oh yeah, see you in September. So I walked into this course, not even looking it up, really and truly. That was I walked in. Oh, good morning, Alex. And I honestly thought I was going to make people cluck like chickens and hum chairs. And I was like, I'm out. Keep my money. Like, this isn't for me. And that wasn't what it was. It was a school that actually ended up changing my life, because the course really gave me the tools and techniques to take these deep dives into my soul's history. And I say soul's history because, alternate lives, past lives, just depending on where your mindset is, that description is kind of open-ended at this point. Even more open-ended now that the government's admitting that we've got it, light beings exist and we're not alone. And that's going to be very interesting to see how that also influences where we can go and the energies that Earth holds. And so I got there, and I, went into kidney failure. The second day, I got a phone call, and that kidney failure was, I didn't have time for it. And I said I didn't have time for it. But I started picking away at my kidneys, and I was able to improve their well-being. Slowly, every couple of months, my GFR would move points and points and points. And I got to a point where I was like at 39, which is really good. You can live that way. I mean, it's not normal human being levels, but it's enough that you can live well and live easily, and, just keep going kind of thing. And that's what we did. And I've been doing that for years. And the other couple of weeks ago, about a month ago now, we did that session, and I knew I could feel it in my kidneys, and I knew that there was something going on. So I did finally go get that blood work, and everything on my blood work has improved except for my kidney function. And at the time, I think I knew something was going on, and I knew that this next life that we will be diving into on Wednesday has a lot to do with the well-being of my kidney function. And so I just got the news yesterday night about my kidneys, so instant tears. But the reason I'm sharing this is because news like this sucks. There's no other way to say it. But you have to have your emotions, right? And you have to go through these moments. And to deny yourself of them, it's denying your process. And everything is a part of a process. You can't always predict the results or whys until you start to dive in my opinion, and the way I feel about it and my experience. But the first thing is about sitting with the emotions and the importance of that, because you have to feel it. You have to feel what you feel. If you deny it, it will live inside of you. It will be something you harbor and hold, and that will be just another layer that when you begin your journey of unwinding and discovering, and sorry about this stuffy nose, that will be there. So just give yourself permission to take a moment, to take a beat, to be whatever it needs to come out. And why I say that is because in my experience with my own personal journey, but also with my professional journey of being a clinical hypnotherapist and a soul regression coach who takes people on these adventures of wellness and well-being and self-growth and discovery, and for many different reasons, not just one. People come to me because they are stuck, or they're blocked, or they're trying to find themselves, or they want to go discover who they can be, their potential, the soul purpose. and so much more. Everybody has their own reason. Sometimes it's just truly to find the piece of them that's happy and knows how to be happy. Sometimes it's, you want to quit smoking, or you have anxiety, or, whatever is your wall, your obstacle that you are going to navigate in life. You have to feel what you need to feel so that in a way it clears a little bit of the moment, and you go through it, and you won't get stuck in it. It won't own you. It will just be a part of your journey that will reveal something to you. And it can be intense, and it can be raw, and sometimes you do it alone, sometimes you do it publicly, or with somebody, where you feel safe to do it. And you need to feel safe doing it because you need to allow yourself to really do it, so that piece, that component is not done, but it is open, it is flushing, it is clearing, it is creating an opportunity that when the emotions soften and the moment kind of passes, that you can look back on that moment from that observation, that witness, and say to yourself, what did I feel in that moment? What were the feelings that were trying to guide me? And it may be one, it may be two. For me, it's the frustration. I'm just frustrated. This is my frustrated cry. Because, and I know this, it's frustration because I've been down this road, and this road was going in one direction, and I know I made a choice, and I will to, trust that, work with my medical team and try something new. And that could be what, maybe my body's not responding well. And I didn't really listen to me. And I thought, you know what, we can do this. If it's something, maybe it'll be good. And maybe it's not, maybe it is. Maybe it's just that time I need to do this. And this is why the well-being of my kidneys is fluctuating quite a bit. I don't feel it. That's the funny thing, is I don't feel the way I should feel based on what they're telling, what the blood work showed. And I think that's very an interesting thing. So we'll see what happens after this past life regression next week that I've been holding off on, but I knew it was connected to, sometimes it's about clearing the dust so you can sit back and go, okay, this is what I can do for me. And then I can find out the next step, and listening to yourself and giving yourself that opportunity to sit back and go, okay, what is my plan? What are my steps? What do I need to do for me in these processes of these speed bumps in life? Because we will all navigate speed bumps. We will all navigate challenges, and then, and opportunities, but we have the gifts in us, and we have the insight in us to sit back, because you, whether you want to know you or not, you do know you know where your blocks are, you know where your stalls are. You may not understand them, and they may not be very clear, but there's something in you that will kind of guide you there if you allow yourself to listen. So when you have challenges arise, listen to what comes out when in those moments. Listen to the emotions coming through you, and write them down. Sit with them. Ask them what they mean to you. What do they represent to you, and how do they resonate with you, and how do you resonate with them, and where do you hold them? So that, I'm not saying avoid your emotion, I'm saying actually get into the emotion, because the emotion is a powerful component to helping your well-being shift, helping you shift or open up the door to find the next stage, the next flow of your opportunity, and how to begin to move through those challenges in life. And allowing yourself time and space to create that place where you can let yourself be in the moment. I know it's scary. I know it's hard. I know it's unforgiving at times. And there's a lot there. And it can be very overwhelming. Especially when you begin to really dive into it. I think we don't realize how much we store in our cellular being that, sorry, I gotta wipe my nose here. Yeah, I use my shirt. How much we store in our cellular being that we don't recognize, because it's just always been there, and it's been there, and it creates blocks, it creates hesitations, it creates heaviness, it creates so much when it has the duration of time to really solidify in our overall self. And so sometimes these challenges bring up those emotions, those things that are beginning to solidify and create and manifest into the physical world. And we have to give ourselves the opportunity to really sit with that, because these challenges, these moments can show us a lot. And if we deny our feelings, or we deny ourselves the moment to really, as you all saw, cry and get through it, and we don't pay attention to it, then we can kind of lose the moment. We can lose the feelings. It becomes a mumbo jumbo, and sometimes it makes it a little bit harder to go back into that moment and identify exactly what we were feeling when we got challenging news, when we got information that kind of, shocking and surprising. But if you give yourself a moment to sit back while you're, even just after, and go, okay, what did I feel? What emotions came up for me? And write them down, jot them down, journal them, text them to yourself, put them on a post-it note, do whatever you got to do. But you can come back later and look at those emotions and ask yourself, what do they mean to me? How do I resonate with them? And how do they resonate with me? Where do I store them in my body? Where do I store them in my life? How do they flow into my life? How do they cause me to react and respond to moments in my life, situations in my life, conversations? And it will begin to really show you the spider web of our emotional state that is integrated into every part of our daily life that we unconsciously respond from or react from. And that can be the one step. And that's, like I said, for me, it's frustration. So I know frustration means something to me. And I will be diving into that after Wednesday's show, which if you guys want, I can totally do live and see what that emotion takes me and what it clears and what it means to me on the subconscious level. And that is one of the things, like, we get into the, that's why we're, doing these shows live when it comes to the actual soul regression, is to show you that as we go back through these things, we can make changes and improvements to our well-being. What that looks like, I don't know at this point, what it will actually, what it will turn into on a tangible component. And it might take it a little time to see the results, but I will share them with you. But we have the more we clear, the more we find and put the pieces of our puzzle back together and our self becomes whole, the more of the opportunity we create for ourselves to see new beginnings and new self evolutions and these little miracles here and there. And it's not always out of reach. Sometimes we don't know how to get there quite yet. When I started this journey with my well-being in 2016, I had no idea where it was going to take me. I had no expectation that I would get anywhere. I was just swinging for a fence. And that was part of the beauty of it, is that I didn't decide whether it was going to work or not work. I just decided that that was the path I was going to take, and I was going to keep taking it. Because something deep inside me believed in it. And I knew enough about myself that if I believed in something, because I'd done the work up to that point to get to a point where I could believe in myself and trust my intuition, that this was my step. And that's the thing, you have to find your step. You have to find little pieces that make your whole, that help you level up what it is that you're working towards. And we're all unique and we're all special, and we all have these beautiful gifts inside of us. And I'm not saying deny the truth or, gloss over the truth. I'm saying sit with your truth and see how you can incorporate it and see how you can support your truth, because it's super important to, when we know our truth, it either works with us or it sits there in the background and is like, hello now, I'm here. And it's like that nagging little piece that we, and we can ignore it for a long time. I mean, I personally did. I'd been down that journey, and I know everybody's going to do it. So I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I mean, if you choose not to ignore your inner voice and take the appropriate steps to get you where you need to go, it's okay. It's cool. But if watching this helps you not do it for as long as I did, because I know I participated in this well-being journey. Like, I 100% participated in it. I saw some signs, and I didn't really, I didn't want to see it, and I didn't want to deal with it when I was back in the day before everything kind of happened. So there was that component that I had to forgive with myself, because that I've actually never talked about that. That I played a huge role in this. It's not just something that happened to me. Little choices that I made throughout my early years definitely got me to a point where the explosion happened, and I had some adverse reactions to things, and it became the perfect storm for me to create some really big challenges to my overall well-being, and I was able to work through them. And I know it's an ongoing thing, and this time I know I learned my lesson. I'm not going to ignore things, and I'm not going to put my head in the sand and be like, oh, okay, it'll be fine. I don't have to do anything. No, I do. I have to support my body, and I have to find ways to do that. And I have to make sure that when my intuition is telling me to work through something, that I go into my soul regression and I do the work so that it can materialize in the physical world. And it's going to be a journey. And funny enough, as I did the last chunk of this journey, without doing it very public. So this time we're going to do it public and see what happens, which will be interesting because I never thought about sharing it in real time, but I'm going to. So those of you should stay tuned because it'll be interesting. It'll be a go. And I'm not sure if next Wednesday will be the final piece or if there'll be more pieces. We now know there's 2 based on the emotion that I had this morning when I looked at the results. And frustration is one of them. So you guys will actually, I will talk to Jen, and we'll do an age regression where we follow the emotion versus the part. I'm going to start with the part because that one has emotion tied to it, but it's the non-emotional side of it. And that is what's going to happen next Wednesday, August 2nd. So we are here. This will be real time. And I'm going to thank you in advance for being there. And just remind all of you that when you are faced with challenges, they are not bigger than you. They are just opportunities to sit back and reevaluate where you are at and what is going on and what you need, and to choose you, and to support, find ways to support what it is that you need to move through that next challenge. Because I know that challenges can be overwhelming. They can look like big, huge mountaintops that look impossible to climb, but they're not. And I've been preaching this for a long time. So now you get to come on my next climb with me. I never thought that the challenge was over. When it came to the improvement to my well-being that I made, I knew that there would be next steps. I knew that there was going to be downtime. I was going to spend some time in the, metaphorical meadow just to gear up and revamp. And I know that we're constantly learning, we're constantly growing, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly reaching, our soul's potential and downloading that light code into this reality. And I truly believe that. And I guess a fun part about this, as I sit back and I get into this observation role as I'm just sitting here online, is that you guys get to come with me. You get to see how I do things, what experiences, I know there'll be experiences that maybe I haven't had yet during this process, that I get to bring to my practice and to my daily practice and to my professional practice. Because this is, what I've done is every challenge that I've had to overcome, the tools that I have uncovered or had the insight that I've had during my channeling messages of what to do next and how to do it. I've implemented all of those tools into everything I do because, they don't work for everybody's unique, but I have this tool bag, and because of the work that I've had to do on myself and the things I've had to seek to understand the next step and the next level. So maybe, this is just that opportunity that I'm going to come up with something really great in my head, and I'm going to practice it on myself and see the benefit and watch the benefits unwind and be able to, share that with those who that practice or that tool is drawn to. So there's the positive side of things, and there is something always positive that we can choose to look at. We can choose not to, and it might take more than a good cry online to do that. And I know that because, when I first got sick and started this journey of wellness and well-being, it took me a couple months to get my head around, not feeling sorry for myself and what I was going through and being stuck in it. And I think it was like about 6 weeks for me. And I remember that moment pretty profoundly. That I was sitting outside. I made it outside because I was blind at the time, and getting outside of my parents' house at the farmhouse was a bit of a disaster. There was a lot of running into walls and wooden chairs and everything. And but once I got outside and I found a spot to sit, it was life changing. So you have to go through the emotion to get to the other side of the process and to be open to the process. And that day I went through all of the emotions that I've been feeling, which I will talk about in another live. But in that moment, when I left that moment, I understood that it was going to be okay somehow. I didn't know how. I had no idea. I was still floundering like a fish out of water. And I floundered. That was March. So I floundered until May. Just trying to put pieces together, or trying to, trying to figure out how I was going to move forward. And then, I just started to take one step at a time. And from 2010, it took me 6 years to really discover my path in that sense. But during that 6 years, I discovered a lot, and I did a lot of healing work in those 6 years. And I was really focused on, the tangible side. And then I found the emotional, vibrational, and soul side of things, which I was able to put into place because I had the tangible component at a place where I could do the other 3 layers of the whole. And finally found at that time what I needed to do and how I could do and work with the other 3 pillars of life. We've got our physical body, mental, emotional, and vibrational body. And the physical body, that's between 2010 and 2016, I definitely had worked really hard for that one, to get that component in a place where diving into the 3 parts was going to not be hard on me, because it's like running marathons. When you do this work, you are running a emotional, mental, physical, vibrational marathon when you start doing soul regression work. It is work, unless you're coming to do a past life for fun. Even then, it's still a little bit of work, because we might as well heal while we're there. But it is work. So we're going to share. I'm going to share this work with you, and I hope that it inspires you to find what works for you, what you need to do, what components, what combination of wellness and well-being is going to support you for your highest vibration and your highest and best version of you. So that is today. I had something else planned, but as sometimes things get derailed, and we gotta, adapt and flow. So thank you. I hope that you guys have an amazing Friday. I love you and appreciate your support. We will be back live on Wednesday, August 2nd. We might be live in between because I ended up doing an extra session on Wednesday, so I wasn't able to do meditation. But yeah, we will see you next week. So thank you very much for your time, your energy, for your support. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see some of you on Tuesday for sure. And then Wednesday, bring your questions, because we are going to do a little channeling after that session. So if there's something you want to ask, I have given Jen permission to, once I'm finished the process of healing, because I go into that channel space, if anybody has a question, to ask it, and we'll see what we get as your guides come through. As you all know that have worked with me, they all come through on a very regular basis. So, all right, guys, enjoy. Have a great day. Have a glorious weekend, Alex, and we will see you next week. All right. Cheers, guys. Do, do, do.